So the session this afternoon is on suffering, nature, types and causes.
Diga pepe kundu na mesu tamshi bada lubdu yongla samdi shuwa da ja nye dil dungwe ko dozam shuyin.
Just to relate to everybody, I will say a few words about suffering.
Ne ngazo ji duwa mi sube samdi tamje ne dewa dewa da dungwa mi dewa shada res. Ine ya ne ji dewa dewa de chida duggo menda mi dewa dungwa de chida tolgo mengi ne de ji lebo mashina. 아니 소소 되베 대화디 자다 좀 좋아다 미드베 동안디라 아니 니랑 오버 죽도에 내기 용기를.
So even though as a human being we seek for happiness and we try to avoid suffering, but sometimes when we do not know what the proper methods are, we end up getting more sufferings than happiness.
아니 대인바데니 예수님 보시월에 니 춘줄에 내송을 동월 도도 세메죠 동월 니랑 오버규 대화 되지 때문에 랑이 대화 저도 좀 실수원에 시다지 랑이 되베 대화디 지다 두고요 왔다 동월에 지다 도고에 니주디 심발라 아니 지 동월 도와 섬기 미쳐봐 동월디 간에 외승고에 계신 부차들에 안텐다 소장이 당이 고급 뒤주시니 동월 기고 유 예와 콜라니 디마직 robsam shuins.
So in one of the Shanti Deva's text, he mentioned that even though we seek happiness, we end up destroying it like an enemy. And even though we don't need or we don't want suffering, we end up running after it. So that means the understanding of suffering, what is the nature, what is the causes, and what are the types of suffering is very important.
아니 디 동아지 모디 동아스나 간데질스에서 니 레다 니몬을 때는 중에 사직이 소화실라 아니 동아스에레스 티 유딜라 레다 니몬이 시그레스 다 사회 타투나 동아티 사회 타투나 단지 머리 볼라 시그레스.
So when we talk about suffering, it is a product of our ignorance and our karma. So if you ask what is the cause, then ultimately we have to go back to ignorance and our actions.
네, 된로 동아들라 예와 찬야니 이나 숨수레스.
We can categorize surfing into three different categories from Buddhist point of view.
네, 동의 예와숨디 동알기 동알, 교회 동알, 켜바도지 동알도 숨레스.
So among the three different types, the first one is what we call the surfing of surfing. Then the second one is what we call the surfing of change. Then the third one is what we called all-pervasive surfing.
아니 동보원이 동아기 동알 세원에 간데시 시작해서나 랑라 강예시 최신 메토도 라야 강예시 시 쳐발라 니 동아기 동알 쓰는 시작했어.
When we talk about this surfing of surfing, the first category, normally we give the example of when you are in a kind of uncomfortable situation. Then if you face another uncomfortable situation or uncomfortable, then that kind of situation we call the surfing of surfing.
네, 근데 동아기 아니 아주 도와미 섭에 심지어 탐지기 다디 동아기 소화의 중인데 디 동아를 이냐면 지 anga 동아 중국도 섬에 소화의 납상기 되어 되는 줄 스페도 샤샤나 지금 아주 고내다 조고내라 참마 나올라 소번조다 지 쇼지 지 배자도 따고야 돼 지금 뭐고 소소랑 아무 수수기 anga 동아지 중국도 섬에 소화의 대마다 레도에딜라 동아스리스.
These types of surfing is very easy to recognize by nature, even without having any kind of traditional or kind of learning, specific technical learning about this. Even to some extent, animals can recognize this kind of surfing, and so it's, for example, like having a headache.
아니 규의 동안들라 간지 시작했으나 아니 내가 대화들나야 농주규 망타움 삼수 많은 발 아니 쳐봐이나 무튼도 쳐봐이나 아니 된지 대화디 동아지 뭐 규하실라 아니 규의 동안 쓰리스.
So the second type of surfing, if you go a little bit deeper, then sometimes even if there are some kind of feelings where you take it as a happy or happiness or a kind of a positive feeling, but if you continue that for a specific period of time, then it will change into a kind of a uncomfortable feeling, and that kind of long-lasting kind of feeling is also we consider as a surfing, and it's called surfing of change.
아니 된지 규의 동안들 아니 배송이 뭐다 숨기고네 아니 뭐 쉬스.
So I can give some examples for this.
아니 배송 다지 배도 당보도 시하나 아니 세심불라 칼라심부터지 세심불라 착박게시 세네 세유갑 당부원이 소와 대화다 나야 아니 지 사에 망타나 아니 람상 보여 나서 교하다 아니 ങ്ങൾ 중에 대화디 때문에 보주네 ങ്ങൾക്ക് 대화디 아니 동아지 뭐 교하실라 아니 교회 동아스는 지그랬어.
First example, when you are having a very tasty meal or food, at first it appears to you that this is kind of a positive feeling, but if you keep on continuing the same process, after some time it will turn into an uncomfortable feeling, and at that time you realize that this is not long lasting. So that kind of situation is what we call surfing of change.
아니 배송이어디 뭐서 직된 탐에 상불을 지대기 빼나 땀년다서 안도서 당보 소소 다미 결바스 이네 소소를 당보 땀년다 전부 유도 선발라 다지 대화 제절 소소를 좋아 대화 전부 유열데 이네야 치소니 땀년다데 소소 있게다데 무슨 땀년다데 충도 종이님베 동아에 땀년다데 배도 몇월 차이님베 동아에 된도 가를 대화디 아니 동아 용어를 유어들라니 유도 시시.
For another example, for the surfing of change, if you praise somebody, or if somebody becomes very famous, at first you feel good for being famous and being praised by others. But if you are in that kind of situation for a very kind of a long period of time, then it will lead to other negative set of minds, like, or if I don't do this, then they may no longer praise me, or maybe it will disturb for my image, or I may become not famous again. So that kind of negative things come up for being continued with that kind of process. So this is also what we call as an example of surfing of change.
아니 배송 숨버들라 먼저 다 지금 담아배 먼저 용달라 도세서 주인데 다 도자를 라용으로 다 도세서 주인데 통말은 도세서 주인데 당보 직 저와 대화 연결돼 이내 된데 왜 도세대니 주주 많다면 다 도세대 망부시 대체바이나 아고 저와 동아 용어 유도하지라 되나야 아니 이교 동식이스.
Third example that is to some extent obvious and common among us is that when we take this what you call drugs that is kind of addictive by nature, that gives you kind of a good feeling, and when you have this kind of drugs at the first stage, it gives a positive feelings or makes you feel good, and same way if you continued with that kind of drug taking, then the same state of mind will turn into a negative state.
아니 유의 동액이 순수 현실아니 유단 저우시 규저로 유 동을 순수지 유레스 순당 먼저 니 유레스 유르베 동을 나이다 유 동을 순수 먼저 니 유레스.
So sometimes this wording for this surfing of change, some people say that instead of calling it surfing of change, they may term it the surfing of the cause or something like that.
아니 먼저 디 섬디도 있게 다 지도하는 건 게디 줄인도 선발라 translate 지인도 게디 줄인도 규단들라 태줄 튼줄 tuk줄 스미요 나네 아니 섬디도 있게디 산스크리트 게디 태줄 쳐바이나 아니 규 동을 나셔그레스.
So when we translate this Buddhist text from Sanskrit to Tibetan, there are three different methods to do the translation. And one is called direct translation. So if you use the term kind of a direct method, then the translation wording is very close to a change, the surfing of change.
아니 된주에 지 규 동아다 규 동아니가 배선 샤와나 지부지장레스.
So only difference is the wording. Otherwise, if you ask them to give an example of this surfing, then it will be the same.
배나 배도 샤와나 차유 동아기 차유 동아기 날심배 강사들라 장미 소와 또섬 중인데 니 당부 장미 소와 중인데 그 차유 동아 날이 위유데 장미 소와 중인데 그 소와 대화 용유율데 이니 장무대야 마노 저희도 양고 응알 대화 중에기 장무대 치소야 동아이 계획 줄을 두고 선사 안텔라 규 동아를 내래 규를 동아를 내래 니가 내래스.
So in this kind of types of surfing, since there is a change in the nature from being good feeling to being feeling bad, because of that nature, the term surfing of change is there. And also there is a cause, like the drug or whatever. And because of that, sometimes we also call the surfing of the cause, or I don't know, something like that.
아니 가서 다디 동아 숨바디 켜바도지 동아디 켜바도지 동아는 하는지 쓰구나 동아 신이래 켜베 사지기 소화도 문주고 시민베스 켜바도지 동아데 동아 문주고 시민베 동아 임발 남성 명의지 타버 속에 남기 대 동아 인로다 동아 총무순도 또 민베 아니 돌에 집을라듯도 도지 동아 뽕못 봐라 아니 켜바도지 동아 쓰레스.
So the third types of category is a little bit kind of not so obvious, is a little bit subtle. So because of that, it is said that the common people won't take these things or these feelings as negative or surfing. And because of that, it is by nature very difficult to eliminate.
아니 지단에 가서 동해라 지용 전에 류소도 저기 동해다 섬조도 저기 동해 장라대와 몽부지 열대 이내야 대탐절로 안 뒤바이나 동아 숨디 나라 모두가 요말스.
So all this, so whether it is the first type of surfing, that is surfing of surfing, or whether it is a surfing of change, or whether it is the third category, that is the surfing of all pervasive nature, we can broadly categorize this into the mental realm, the surfing that is associated with your mind, or the surfing that is associated more with your physical sensations.
네, 요즘 대신에 좀 내리기 지 동안을 타외 고반 토바디 섬기 총부터 동안을 타외 고반 토발라 당문이라 동안 5초고도 동안 5초고도 되네 5초고 고초 거에 아니 가자 교바 몸부지 쓰네 좀 내리 초고 당부되니 대시 초고 승화했어.
So right from the beginning, when Buddha saw that saw the importance of eliminating surfing from the sentient beings. So in order to do that, he also realized that it's very important to know what surfing is and what the nature of surfing is. Because of that very reason, so at the first teaching, he taught about the nature and types of, or the what is surfing. He talks about the surfing.
아니 대시 초고 당부성에 값서 당부 아니 고대인다 남대인 되네 그냥 말씀 당분이네 그런 니네 동아법이 된바 오시베 도대인데 아니 당분 요성을 했어.
So at his first teaching, what we called Four Noble Truths, he taught about Four Noble Truths. So very beginning of the Four Noble Truths, the first truth is the truth of surfing. So here he talks about truth of surfing, or the nature of surfing and how it stems from.
아니 대제소 아니 동아대 총세 유디 가르도 아니 된데 유 아니 공정된 바디 니벌 송레스.
And after he introduced what is surfing, then he only after that he talks about the cause of surfing.
대제소 숨바들라 아니 동아텔레 타베 타바 유메디 제주나네 타마들라니 동아텔레 타베 타바디 여발에 다스르네 동아텔레 타베 타바 고딘데니 숨바데 송레스.
Then after that, when he talked about whether there is actually a way to get rid of these surfings, then he talks about yes. He said yes, and then he talks about what we call truth of cessation, how you can get away or get liberated from these surfings.
다 기시 동아 텔레타베 탈바 요하나 아니 간데스 두고도 동아 텔레타베 타바 디 줍다 줍지기 람지로 아니 디 타말라 시바 타말라 송을했어.
Then if there is a way, then how you should do it. So the part or the method part he taught at last.
아니 대송조들 하는 건 저기 유정 공부도 베르메 원도 진이 송원인 라이스다 윤대 통일이 원도 진이 송원인 송조마도 니 요에나네 근데 디 아니 단다지 동해 덴바 당보송 데니 군주 덴바 송 데니 고된 송 데니 남된 송에 줄와 디 유정 공부도 베르메 원도 진이 송원레스.
So I think when we taught about Four Noble Truths, and when he said surfing, it is like the order is depend on what is most important to know at the first stage. Like it's not in the order which comes first.
그나 네버도 우차셔나 네버디 지금 maybe 나자들 자와 지워라 담무기 네버디 나자 거리 마시고 봐. 나자들 자서질 나자들 중에 유디 거리 마시고 그랬어. 나자들 자외 중에 나자들 레서 유디 신서질 나자들 자외 자자니 그좀미 남기다 대당 차에 열매 딜 따지나. 안 제수 미 나자들 자외 자와 지나 아니 간데스 자기도 미인데나 자기도 간데 자기도 딜 그림 됐어.
For example, if there's a sick person, so before you try to understand the cause of that sickness, first you have to know what is the sickness itself, and after that then you go to the causes, and then you try to learn about how it should be eliminated.
제임바데니 지준 참기기 줄람말레 네송이네 네니 시자 네 유니 빵자라 데네 톱자미니 템바 차와달 동아주다 대고보다 대신랑 세제번째 리시던 바자 된다도도 지금 동부디 나자디 하고 그랬다 이미 죽지.
So because of that reason, in one of tantric texts, it is said that surfing is that something to be known, something to be understood, and cause is something that has to be eliminated, and the path is something that is to be practiced. Then you get end result. Thank you.
Maybe for the purpose of the young people here, when you say suffering, I think he said somewhere that it can be both physical and mental, and the causes also could be physical and mental. Maybe somebody is born with a painful condition, with a spinal problem. Now that is also suffering. But what you do for that is different from the mental suffering. So mental suffering, like just being discussed, is a result of our own actions or our attitude over a course of time. We suffer mentally. But the physical suffering could be, it could be a result of your past karma, or if you believe in reincarnation in your past life, but then somebody is born with something like that, the solution for that is not the same. So is there different things prescribed in either Buddhist tradition for somebody with the physical suffering and somebody with the mental suffering?
ane kirang tani ane dungi kirin so pa dubi mena ane semda risk sem sandewa yobe ki dungi kichaji da ane ludan dewa yobe ki ane dungi kichani na lo share yores la sons tiza da dile samba ko dungi khora ane ngo da yongtang tade imba sonza ane digi ane dokjo ke ta pangtham jorwa dong di mewa sotang di ane thamlam mandaw yo gur sam gudus 제가 배차샤비나 따지 르기 동에로 중비나 배차나 단다 잡기 중바든소 아니 지두 거란 톨라도디고 된소 임베나 르단 대베게 강이 망고시티고 요레스 딜된 동이 망고슝고 요레스 제가 따지가 제와 같이다 레이군디든지 켈링이 짐베나 된소 제와 아동메기 레레테니 중레스 해지 요르데니 임베나 디셰와 참기 아니 고 강에디 상기 요마로스 제가 다 낭베기 슝기 낭로라 아니 르기 강에시야다 셈기 강에시야라 아니 탑람 로가 템바딘데 tenshakotinde yorebes
tanda arso nambe shunane ane legi tunge setup de ane kura se dege ane punzo drive tengne ro se di punzo pena junor lonjalo soba tada drive tengne ane legi kanye setup jusung yores ro tele tene ane ngonte nyelegi kopang sigi ane sonam gele sabal tene jungu yaba jusung yores tene ka semsor ge tunge setang de kandere sena ta tingsan zambal yonda la ane chuluk su ge ni semsor ge tunge setang tabla menra sung yorela nangbe shunane nangbe tadrup ge namsha ta tene nangbe che ta nangbe tserik di tamje tene garse gore nangbe ge ane semsor setang ge tabla cha de yores tonta dodo shibe na tezame.
So since like there are different types of surfings and some are related with kind of a more physical nature, some are more related with kind of a more mental level. So different types of surfing has a different antidote or different methods to eliminate those surfings. So to some extent, I can say that from a Buddhist point of view, the surfings that is more stem from the body, the method also kind of more related with physical repairment or physical thing. And if the surfing is more stem from the mind, is all more related with the mind, then the method should be more related with changing your way of thinking or something that is more related with the mind.
지단에 남베 슈네 만체요디 동아 세디 섬조다 저 동아 세인 거레스 이내야 루스다 저 동아 마서 말레스 베로 차샤나 지금저 남베 슈네 도자시다 티무숨디 도숨기 자와레스 동아 상메 자와도 차더라 그 동의 중식이 자와디 고유도 삼발라 아니 그 자와 고유인데 따지게 텔레 열가다 로답다 들까 중앙 면에서 말도 그 자와도 고유인데 도자시다 티무숨 참말로 고액이 고런서서 도자라 님보 시당라 님보 티물라 님보서서 남의 슈네 세윤데 대수문 고유인데 대다 저기 루소다 저기 동아양 고도래 섬조다 저기 동아양 고도래스.
So even though there are different methods to deal with different types of surfings, in Buddhist tradition we pay more attention to surfings that stems from the mind itself. Because if you look at the negative emotions, the three root negative emotions, that is anger, ignorance, and the attachment, these all three of them are related with the mind. It stems from the mind. So if you are able to eliminate these three root surfings, then other surfings, no matter where it comes from, whatever the source is, will be also eliminated. So for that very reasons, we talk more about the surfings that related with the mind, and also methods that is related with eliminating these types of surfings.
시다니 등어 생에들라 아니 링기 등어 산지 등어 니셔도 시도 등어들라 차로 지워야 참모다 다 로박 지워야 아니 단딩 안조니 시도 그에 신수노라니 등어 용화디 시도 수수 등어 임방 무시야 참마 등어 로뱅이 무차데 안 된조 안에 세비 다시나데 조 가를 내서 와이나 다 손주 세세야 문도 아니 니지 아니 옌베 라상 된조 돈이 된조 파시 등어 세그리 제근도 아니 다 등어 참모 생에데 조 가를 단 세그서 와이나 등어 참모 조 아니 저 가르서 와시 tummi denzala tene shuwara ane tummi denza teme bachi ge renjimi ji tema machi wata dingwa chamu sewa ya mare dange denzo ne stu yempe do la sola tene rujala dingwa se sewa de neka ji de dingwa sewa zori mata ane khu shi karsa jel ane zawani ne munjuwa de je de ya mare jel zawani ni ne munjuwa sewa de la gar sewa ina ane 디가 ane je zong gu je je ane karsana domya to bishara ane donz mari barwa te domyo to bishra ka yerese ta charo nyingo ne kijeso.
So also when we talk about this physical surfing and mental surfing, we can also, to some extent, in the same kind of context, we can talk about these different levels of surfing. And when we talk about physical surfing, it's more related with kind of gross or causal surfings, and these are easy to eliminate. And for the antidotes of this grosser level of surfings, we talk about generating bodhicitta, generating compassions. So if you use these antidotes, then you can eliminate this grosser level of surfings, whether it comes from mind or whether it comes from the body itself. And then when we talk about the subtlemost surfing, it stems from the very kind of what we call self-grasping attitude, or the self-grasping or the root ignorance. And unless and until you eliminate that kind of wrong view, you will be not able to eliminate surfing for permanently. So for this eliminating the root ignorance, we talked about this what we called the wisdom that we gained from the realization of the concept of no self. And with that wisdom, then you will be able to eliminate the root cause of the subtlemost surfings. And if you're able to do that, then you are free from surfing for eternal.
I think there are two kinds of people divided through the world, whether it is East or West. One have a vision of reality. They both share the same vision of suffering, which is that there are afflictions of fate. When you are going through life, things will happen, people will die, your loved one will die, accidents, genetic, wishes which will always remain unfulfilled, or so all these are suffering producers. Now, how do those two kinds of people approach this? One is on this tragic vision comes the ironic thing, ironic one. And the ironic one says, okay, look at it, accept that is so, life will come to an end with this. Your wishes, many of the wishes are going to remain unfulfilled. Look at some of the wishes, they were not real good wishes at all. So come to that kind of a point of an acceptance. So all you can hope for, in psychoanalytic terms, that your misery will be replaced by common human unhappiness. That is all you can expect in life. That is one step. The other one on that suffering is the romantic vision, which is the romantic vision on that, the romantic one, which is, yes, this is so, but this is not the reality of life. There's a higher reality. If you work hard enough, and then all kind of traditions which come up, you will attain or experience a higher reality where all this will be eliminated. You won't know that. And people are divided among those. I don't think you are ever going to say that one is right or wrong. This is such a condition of where people are born, with what kind of temperament, how they grow up. So these two are really the basic ones on what suffering is. Not the other vision, what is on that, the ironic one, which is what is the most, what you offer is that all you can do is the minimum of happiness, which is to be able to love and work and maybe hope. If you can have those three, that is more than enough. That is happiness for that one. And that would be a minimal one. And of course, I'm always very interested in, and which I want to learn and have trying to learn also, the Buddhist happiness, and I wonder whether that's a maximalist vision or a minimal, or where is that vision of happiness in the Buddhist, which I would really love to learn. I mean, I've been reading it, but you know, concretely, because abstract words mean very little to me. I don't understand abstract words too much. In therapy, for instance, when a patient comes, say, I'm feeling aggressive towards my father, I have no idea what it means. So I want to ask him, do you want to strangle him, hit him with it? What do you want to do? Then I understand what. So happiness is too abstract. What is the concrete of happiness in Buddhism?
Teda ani jiga luda sem ki kangen thia di ani misuli imbe na ani thia yoba da nyonga yoba nyongu yoba cha di yoris ina an de ki kangen den zula tebe kapsla ani tatang mandawa kyung than imbe na mi rigni yung yoris tadi zambuling sharnub ki yawa yomaris ningi ki ani tatang dinzu pa yawa chebe imbe na nin tagres ji ki khar sigres lavi imbe na an koran dunge ji chung kapsla o ta an ngala dunge de chung bares ngala kangen de chung res ta dabjo de chung bares ta diladu zambala ani ta ngarana dingala ani chiga kangba macha wi mena ngidi chigi samya ki ani miyu dan dumba naza di majung wi mena nga ani chiga miyu dan dumba didi chigi samya khari yobana dunzo samata cha char sung ta din thama dres ta mewa cha sung sam dingi ki ani rigji gyores rig shimba ji ki o dingne kange chobi mena ani thanda kange di thewa re dine ani dile tharya jo yores di mewa se yore thanda kange chunju ji thebi thanda dungen the de nyang de de kange chunju ji re ani dile tharya da dile la thanda ngi mi chunju ji mandro bi mena dile la ki mi drup thobya ki ani juma khokab yores sam dingi ki ani ta jingthang du ri ni yore do shlasro tegana shi 당한주 기치게 대화다 동해다 덴데 라이응도 삼발라 아니 식 삼네 아니 라이응도 삼발라 아니 제단 아니 메심바지 도시에응도 삼발디 고주시다 카고 차두요레스 페차샤나 아니 간주스타 사이코 애널리틱 레이도 혼조게 치가 심감 키 치시바 덴데 치킨 담라 매직 레체 아니 녜 팔라 콩도 시우치 사이두스 라비임베나 아니 디 고미시 요마레스 나 고주시라 민두스 라이레스 간주 아니 고 계란 콩도 시우 사이두 레두 삼발 가르치 엠베스타 징바티레 엠베 티투에 엠베 세 엠베 다 가르치 엠이스 레두 삼발라 아니 그기 가리 이네 직 지에 진이 두두스 진두 두스 레두 삼발라 아니 니주디 아니 디스 세르 차두요레스 아니 다 심바 해피니스 레야 두른다 카다 대화다 동해다 덴데 아니 직 침부침부드네 유디두 잠발라 아니 고 녜딩인지 녜두 잠발라 아니 시라 고주메와데 차두 두스 도실레스 Is it a question or
It was. He wants to understand what is happiness in concrete terms.
제가 다 딜라도 고주시라 민두스다 고기 메와 손자 아니 지게 고야 요 시에나 ngala 아니 대화세 가르웨스 디기 시디 삼바 가르시기 요레스다 네가 고토베 시에미면 큐즈 가르시기 베슬라스
Suffering we all know, but what is happiness I want to know.
그래서 다 대가는 시다 도 동에 기 도저 대화로 왔다 디니 동에 시기 요 손자 니 대화도 되긴다스
시동 안조 단다 대화도 등원생이 돼 마시에기 시에기들 저지자네 시에기고요. 디시에기 단은 눈치 저지네 고 대화다 고 터터지네 시에기예리. 이나 당에 다고 고문들라도 디자다 시도 대화생이들 생바시 보여와다리 생바시 보여와대 생소지 대화생에 대 생바시 보여와대 아니 륜소지 대화생에 대 리포 대화여와다리 리포 대화여와대리 대파시 고기지라 아리 덴송이네 생소지 대화도 륜소지 대화세와대 유산 윤큐나데 간디간디제시네 다치 그거로 무스이나요 생소지 대화도 륜소지 대화 영이지리 둥어 영이래 대화 영이래 이나요 적 간디치는 윤큐징이 수는 또 그야라리 대 윤큐 수는 또 그딜 인지미지다 절야지 짜 만도로로 제치다 그거로 근데 절짜기딜 아니 단다테네 시도 노지라 아니 센소지 대화야 보야 등이지 젬페 돌라서 아니 수수 세할네 그래서 노또 맹이지 대화이나 가딘 티토도 대화 네트기고 티토도 대화 네트기 아니 수수 다파행에다 아니 그래서는 다 조도도 참아 대댕이지나 아니 가디나 대화생에 깔래 가고 싶어지리 근데 대화생에 다 드네나지마도 소화시 보여와더라 아래 생바시 보여와대 리시 그로포 대화요와다 아니 생바시 보여와더라.
So when we talk about happiness, first of all, we have to talk it from a kind of a basis or philosophical foundation. So when we talk about happiness, we are talking from a Buddhist point of view. But if you ask me what is happiness that common people can understand, then if your body is in a comfortable state, then your body is in a happy state. And if your mind is in a comfortable state, and if you don't feel uncomfortable or uneasiness, that your mind is at a state where you can call it happiness. So then, if you when you do studies, and if you do look deeper into this state of minds, then you also need to talk about for what reasons you have this state of mind, whether it's a comfortable one or whether it's not a comfortable one, uncomfortable one. Then, with that caution, you come up with cause. What is the cause of these mental states? And then also you talk about how you can habituate, how you can eliminate these causes, or how you can produce a situation where you can have these mental states undisturbed for permanent or for a very long period of time. Then we can have more discussions about that.
Tenso dewa dongha se yadon le labong shek chodo ta yimbe yene ya dewa se samata karari islam samala chik dewa se na deki se na ta de karari samala le labong ane chi pha ke chik le labong an pejo tang shoina rawang se adres dewa se ad rawang se ta de rawang de ya kares re se shi yene samala rawang de chik nge kar chini do na chi je junding anzo chik chi don tin mai marwa anzo 당당 가르소로 당 알아서 지게 오늘 단내게 간속에 셈 때더니 너차 시당 나절 라소밖에 왕도 줄디요서 나저도 절 라마요 말했어 남시 간조 된로게 셈정다 말해봐도 절 라소밖에 델레바 라왕 타우송 와이나 드니 대와 세야다 되니라 그랬어 마도밖에 지게 주펜조 아야세야 노다더니 단신년다 치모세야 노다다 되니 직당 기단다 준딩 안조 계제시데 대와서 샤그르데 이베는 당연 안조 계시데 야게 주베 동하스 고 동할 원래 만테버지 차디요레스 텐서 말라 다티 뇽모 뭐게 로틀레 라왕 토스와이나 되니 대와스.
So as we have discussed before, happiness or the suffering, these can be have different levels, or you can have a kind of a gross understanding of happiness, as my friend has discussed. Then also we can talk about at a subtle level. So if you ask me what is happiness at a kind of a deeper level or at a subtle level, then I would say that it is freedom that is the happiness. When I say freedom, it is I don't mean to say that doing whatever you want to do is freedom. It's not like that. We say that our mind or our person as a whole is under the colonization of these three root negative emotions. So it is not free. So if you are able to free from these negative emotions, then you get freedom, and that you get that freedom, then you get happiness.
I want to follow on with the question that you asked and try to dig in a little bit deeper to the meaning here. And I'm appreciating that you've recognized multiple levels of happiness. One of the Western notions of happiness, though, is probably a little bit more naive. In some ways, it's seen as a state or a feeling that you have. That may not necessarily be associated with freedom, but is more a sense of lightness or ease, and I think you referred to it as a kind of comfort. Now, one of the interesting things about that process is that in the effort to eliminate the negative state that you might be in order to achieve the state of happiness, that itself might cause suffering. And so I'm curious, do you see a place here where seeking to eliminate in order to achieve a state of happiness is part of the problem? Yeah, so at one point one of the gentlemen said eliminating the discomfort. And so what I'm curious of, in order to create a place of freedom, and what I'm curious about is if people can get caught up in the elimination and the seeking of happiness itself becomes a kind of suffering.
진짜다 동에 시기네레 대화 시기 빈빈이야 아니 따이 기란기 단지 기란수기 아니 지가 차라기 림바요 아 딜리게 아니 까무송송 제자 딘도 삼발라 아니 디 롤 데오도 총송스 땅아주 누조 계제 시단 톤 지비면은 고 직진은 아니 단단한 주기 편에 봐 대화스야 시대에 든저 폐체와 아니 서로와도 대화요 같이 아니 feelings 도 건조 대양 아니 루그 소와다 아니 좋은 데니 용대 찍라 아니 계제 시야 요시 레스 대가는 시니 대화도 가린 슬라비미나 아 단지 아니 동에 되면도 바래 동에 되 매와 소구레 시주 삼발라 카브레 아니 대화 tuye ke chedu da dungi de mewa soye ke chedu la bezun chiga dodu bezun kewa di korang ki ane dungi mangbo chutun liya iya di miyu di dewa rubu yorte ne ane dewa ru mato wa cheche ane dungi ko kora ko ne de de dende ane yongsi ki ne da yungu yor sam kudos cheza dila du zambala ane thangbu koran la ane nga dewa do ko sam di jela juk do ya di korang di chedu bezun che ya di korang ane dungi tuye ke ane chachen cha de men de wes di khandi inans
네 대화 되고 도스 아니 대화 되게 김생기 간데 아니 가서 대화 되게 된다게 된다리야 아니 내가 지금 이 세저와 디 삼바 야버스로와 아니 가서 남주 랑도르기 남샤 셰베캅라 아니 내캅라 랑자 인장 타르토라 빵자 임바 내캅라 아니 가서 거래 랑자 마인장 타르토라 랑자 임바 아니 내캅 타르토니가라 랑자 임바 내캅 타르토니가라 랑자 마임바 딘데게 아니 랑도르기 남샤 용고 요레스로와 인도에 단다 아니 간수고래 가란소 아니 대화 되게 대화 디 아니 드립에 된다라 내가 아니 칼레 겹도 삼발라 아니 서로 간수고래 동행이 이렇게 좀 망보지 용기 요레스로와 딘조 아니 간수고래 내가블라 방제 차고요 말이지 네 타르도라 대소 상마 아니 간수고래 서로 대화 서로 대도 당님 딘조 상마로 타르도라 방제 차도 요레스로와 배나 간조 배주 도르주 주시베나 아니 간조 드싱 아니 간수고래 취파리 갈고고요나 드레싱 갈고도 잠발라 데네 가서로 취파리게 탈 랩사나 드레싱 베져요 마르와스 디나시 파말레 버도 아니 드레싱 베져 타니 드고고 여르와스 데인데고 네캅게 아니 가 빵람 가서 네캅라 빵자인라 아니 가서로 네캅라 랑자인라 아니 타르돌라 빵자 이게 아니 다 딘데 남샤 딘데 요레스로 아니 디 도르두치 디sam시
So the commitment, we believe that the commitment or the intention to achieve happiness is a good intention or a good commitment, is a righteous thing. But when you actually try to seek for it, actually when you work for it, the methods that you adopt could be differ from situation to situation or time to time. So if you are adopting a wrong method for a particular time, then you may end up getting unhappiness or suffering instead of getting happiness. So because of that, when we talk about what kind of methods should be adopted or what kind of methods should be abandoned, then the methods that one occasion should be adopted become something that should be abundant at a different situation. For example, and you have to change your methods when you move from one situation to the next. For example, if you have a river and you need to cross that river and there's a boat near you, you use that boat only to cross that river. After you cross the river, you don't need that boat. You move to another place, another situation, and you have to leave that boat there. And at the same case, when you achieve something, you leave the method, and according to the next situation, you take another method.
So with that, I want to give Matt the opportunity here, so I'm going to move quickly. But so would that mean that elimination of the discomfort is not always necessary?
Elimination of
Discomfort.
discomfort.
Maybe that boat doesn't need to, that boat can be left behind.
Discomfort lanada medewa sigiyoro tezada kiranki ane tanji tuzingi pesha wanangshi ane ko tapsiye di ane nedan tene ane gyuwadru konye chimbi nasra ane kawre ane tap gachashila ane discomfort ledu zambala medewa ane yamena dunges lana dirta medewa ane thorya gachabla ane thanglen chegoya maomba dile mi yuche drobya gachetula thanglen chegoya dinde ki nedan yong sigirwes
근데 용초그레스라 배나 다다른 배선 도르듯이 샤바 나다 나롤 단다 되나 땀시 제긴 남아서 땀시 제신 백갑라 근데 올래야 가서 계절이 겹 근데 마냥 버체 가시 니코 근데 제바이나 아니 근데 제베 버다질라 근데 단다 존지 계란 그러와 가데 마 까주르단 왜 근데 마치스 가르지 단다 가서 땀시 초대여와 근데 구샤메 남바 근데 제요 말했으네 근데 기타지 공로기 남바지 땜바이나 그 내갑로 그 펜토그로 왔다 딘두고 내갑로 랑자 차되고 요레스 Ratindu discomfort se tanda konsultes tende ani kabre la ani langja him backup yours ro ani ko discomfort dia methune ani kansugore kansu methune ani ko gyinde ani neru chukbaina yanti ko sosolia neba chimbo ke backup tende jungures tonglen tang legi teseba kishela swadish.
Yes, that could be the situation. Sometimes, in order to achieve bigger happiness or more kind of a long-lasting happiness, the method you adopt may associate it with some level of discomfort. So that is possible, but you should not continue with that kind of same particular method when you move from one point to the next. For example, if when we are speaking, if the students are not listening, if I shout against them and tell them not to speak among themselves, so saying that would cause maybe some discomfort in me because maybe I don't want to say bad things to the kids. But if they remain quiet for the next 1 hour, then that method should be something that's as worth adopting, even though it causes some level of discomfort. Then on top of that, Geshe-la wants to add some.
In Buddhism, we talk about 3 kinds of patiences, practice of 3 kinds of patiences. The first patience is called voluntarily undergoing suffering patience. Because sometimes for achieving something important, you need to undergo certain sufferings, but you voluntarily tolerate it. Then even in terms of deeper Buddhist studies, there is a second level of patience which is called thoroughly understanding the meaning of the profound emptiness patience. That means in order to try to fathom the depth of the meaning of emptiness, again you need to you undergo a lot of hardships. So you need patience. So there's a lot of hardship, but you invite it. Then sometimes when you're trying to serve others or help others, people may react negatively, may even harm you. You also need to have patience with that.
I just wanted to ask, sorry, Geshe-la, this voluntary undergoing suffering voluntarily, is it what we were talking about earlier, taking on the suffering of the other, in the context of bodhicitta, in the morning where you take on and there's a form of meditation for that as well, Tonglen. So is it this, were you referring to that? I think Rajan.
Yeah, mine was in the line of what Geshe-la is saying. It's also, happiness is also a certain attitude. Once you find the path, then you are happy whatever circumstances you come across. And sometimes you may come across circumstances which you can't immediately change. For example, you yourself may be afflicted by some serious illness which can't be changed. But if you have the right attitude of mind, that is not going to, the physical discomfort is not going to lead to mental discomfort because there's acceptance of that situation. There may even be situations where there's mental discomfort, and you are not thrown off balance by that. There is an acceptance of that also, because you see it as part of something larger, something in the path which you are following. So as Geshe-la was saying, there's the acceptance of suffering, the patience of accepting suffering, and the patience of bearing with actions which are inimical to you. And the third one is the patience of the difficulties of following the path. But because of a deep conviction of the path, you have found the path, your mind remains joyous in all circumstances.
So the acceptance piece is making sense to me in terms of how you're speaking about it. But if there's acceptance, then it would imply there's no need for elimination.
No, wisdom plays a big role in the Buddhist tradition. If it's a situation which cannot be changed, then there is acceptance. Like Shanti Deva says, if something can be changed, don't get worried about it. If something can't be changed, what is the use of worrying about it?
Okay, can I just now bring this back to the table and ask Matthew if you would like to say something?
I'd like to make a comment that relates to what we're talking about here, and also a question that was brought to me by the audience, which is the knowledge of both the science and Buddhism should be together. Why should it be together? Is there something special about Buddhism that science can study, and what is that? And for me, I am continually thinking about the connections between what we're talking about and how we can mutually benefit each other by having this dialogue. And one thing I see is one thing that is I think one of the many things that is special about Buddhism is that the very powerful methods and means you have to deal with suffering and to cope with negative emotions. And for me, I talked a lot about yesterday things like emotion regulation, and I see some of these things such as using an antidote, a positive emotion to counter a negative emotion, or a positive mental factor to counter a negative mental factor as an emotion regulation strategy. I also see things such as mind training as deep practices, deep therapeutic practices that can benefit people who are suffering. And I think there's already people doing this in the West, such as using mindfulness-based stress reduction as a therapy that's used quite often and has very powerful effects for a range of disorders. And Robin's actually going to talk tomorrow about another therapy that has powerful effects, and it has some aspects of Buddhism embedded in it. And I just want to say this and also ask you on the panel how you think about the things that we've talked about in terms of emotions, emotion regulation, how it fits in with the things that you bring to talk to us about.
Seri ni dus nyamdu keja sheda nyamdu chongdu choya denzo khajin chigiyores anjiga seri ngon tevin bena ane nangju ku nanglo la ane mixi lobjun chegoya mixi dine shesha wa khariyores la che ane thiwash dus cheza thiwadila ane ngi kita samju chigda ane thiwad chart ane gelan kiran sol pa khajo jurgins marang samju shevin bena ane jiga khasang aju ane dus kecha manggo chungyore thiring kecha manggo chungyore dig nanglo la jiga simjur girik sigdo da emotion se nyongsol sigine simjur sigine dinzo ane tangjin chedan da tiana shin ane jiga ta nangbi ki chung nanglo yimbina ane simjur chida ba chik ane nyembola ane dig tokcho ki simjur tenya dinre ki thone ane jiga simjur la tangjin cheche ane simjur ngembi rig dinzo ane sangbu ki chol pa gyurya yodewa tiana shin ane jiga jigdile shipsa sto bimbina ane nangbi ki chung nanglo la ane lojong ki ane kecha mangbuchi shigure pecha mangbuchi yodigores tiana shin ane thanda nojok nanglo dewa tevimbena ane themba nyesha ki komki nyamne ane peju chebe ki thone ane jige semki ane tuwe ki kange mangbuchi la ane jotab ki thapshi che digyowa ane dindre ki nesu mangbul tene ane jiga nangchu da tserik sigune re nangbe ki tserik da ane tingdu ki tserik pala ane druling da thudor che koya dindre yungu che gu yore sam che ane chigiyores 제가 다 계란수 그 줄은 안줄 대빈비나스 안주기 에네 semzor sig윤레 nyongzor sig윤레 아니 든줄라 다나 든데 주다스 대시 든데 제게 주다스 라지 안주 셰워레 계란수 그 년데 여러와스 제가 딜 대빈비나 아니 다 안주 저도 든데 제빈비나 펜도 가리 용사레스 계란수 응원에 아니 신야 가리 요사레스 밀 아니 지 펜토야라 아니 케벤 카르툰 투사레스 계란수 아니 삼주 셰로치스
단다보더니 세릭베기 아니 따지 제샤버텔라 아니 쪼치와데 아니 칭외베 땡도 아니 따지 제샤버 차고요레 아니 나 셰베 땡네 아니 따지 셰베 규림라 때베이나 드니 테스지 간라오레 세마버도 차디요레스 일단 낭베 슝네 아니 컨소다는 낭베 세릭세 디 쪼치와데 아니 컨소로 셰베 남샤 제도 되네 아니 송고요레스 다 셰바텔라 아니 간스고레 남베 쇼니 데시캬인도 잠발라 데니 간스고레 간스 셰바 라파 차와 신도 차와 데니 셰베기 젤레 소소소소 아니 간스고레 셰바 대단테 셰바 아니 치라바디 케용도 아니 디게 랑이 유쿄라 아니 간스고레 뇽초르 간디 댕기 예메 아니 간스고레 딘데게다 간스고레 셰바 rakpa chawa shindu chawa susu susu ngo dan chele dan ani kansu gore penyo kare dringa yame tenzo nangbege ani samkham rikpasina mindo lori ki shung nanglo la teni pe shibjing chawa teni tenla pabi yores tenre yama songza ani tingsange nujobe tserikpa tsuge ani mikse chine ani kansu gore ani nangbege tserikla ani tonang chegwe nega di dina tugu yores rwa ani
when I listened to your presentations and also when I listened to Western scientists, it seems that most of the experiments that you do with emotions, mostly to some extent related with our physical body, and from our point of view, when you are dealing with this mind-related phenomena, we believe that you should pay more focus on the consciousness itself when you do experiments or when you try to understand how it works. And from our understanding, we talked about 3 different levels of consciousness or the mind. One is kind of at a gross level, then we talk about the subtle level, then we talk about the subtlemost level. And each of these levels, there is a clear understanding or the descriptions of what is the nature of mind at that particular state, what are the types of, or the maybe types or the types of mind that is associated with this level, and also the function of the mind at that level. So we believe that if you can pay kind of more attention towards that part of investigation, then you can have a better result. And that's what comes up in my mind when we talk about science and Buddhism.
Let me just, I'll say one thing, and can I hear?
Nganzu dini shi duas, nganzu shewa di chevimbe na, ane kirang su kar jaya du, kar she sawa nisa res, laya di tiwarda.
Ta nganzu ki pa tanda ande stawa ina, ta yakbo dos laya da, hajang yakbo dos, rwa, imbe yene yang kar sore, chige jundi ta nganzu ki shi ine sambala, sem sidi sambala, ta sangha dozo nane chige, tsa long tili shi ine sambala, tene liugi, nalo la ta tsan rodan tozo kote shigi yore te imbe yene tozo tes ta tsen tobo no cha sambala, jundi ta pa sem, ta dewa se ngotu, tene chi ine sambala chige, tene ki pa tsa dan tozo koto le shida, shigi yo mare rwa, tene sambala ta tozo koto la, tanda pardo konzo kota tso chige lepa dan, tsa dan, wata nying tozo koto ni chige chalen ro chi, Muslim di sambala chike ngazo kan tonan ro shiba ina hajangi yakon ro chi ta churang zo kar so chunzo ro ina ta chike kenza ma so na ta kenza tambon ro chi lepte jon ro chi ro ti ko la ta chi nenga shiba la teni ta kompa po ti jon ro chi teni ro chi so chung sons.
So first, he talked about how Buddhists seek happiness for all sentient beings, and also in science these days, when we talk about how we are interconnected, and through that way, how one action can influence another consequences, and through that way, when we talk about happiness or surfing, since it is always related with others, and our interaction with others, we have to take consideration of our relationship to others, including the physical world that we live in. And then when you talk about what Buddhists can learn from this kind of interactions, so in Buddhist tradition, when we talk about the nature of mind or mind training at the ultimate level, we talk about this what we call wind channels, through which the consciousness, the subtlemost consciousness operates. And then we talk about the essential fluid, something that, the energy kind of thing that moves along these wind channels. And that is a different level. But when I listen to Western talks, when they talk about emotions or the consciousness or the mind, they talk about how the brain operates, how neurons are operating in the nervous system. And so when I listen to the talks about neurons and this how brain works, it seems that the idea of the channels or the wind energy that is taught in Buddhist are getting closer with the Western interpretation of consciousness and how consciousness arises from the physical brain.
I think Matthew would, sorry.
I want to respond to both responses, and thank you. I appreciate both of those. The first I wanted to say is that you've learned a lot of neuroscience in the last week, and so you probably think all we do is go in and measure the neurons in the brain and do all these kinds of things, but we actually do a lot of studies where we measure mind, and we do so by asking people. We ask them what they feel, what they think about, what their beliefs are, and I would say that is a manifestation of mind according to Western science. It may be one of those levels of consciousness. It may not be the one that we're talking about when we're talking in this dialogue, but it is asking people what they think and how they feel is a manifestation of this thing, of their consciousness. And so I feel that we should characterize emotion research in particular as much broader as you might be thinking about it right now. It's not just measuring the functions of the neurons and such. And I think we do that in a somewhat valid way. We've learned a lot across the decades of doing this type of research, how to do it in a way that gives us answers that we can rely upon. They're valid to us. Do you want to translate that first?
Tiwa shimba jus dingel ane samju ni she so samju ninga da tsawe chen de yores la kiran zu dunrang jiksringa la wangzen seri lobzen de yang yin ba songza ane wangzen seri ke lobden tidan denzo shesha chewi mena ane nobjo ki midin zu ke ane samgam la cheba chi la du zambala leba de kha ngo che ta de de chi ke ane nawa shari yores diza mardas Lelo shida yo mares, nganzu kharchi gires labim bena, ane semda dewa yobe ki cheba thekha mangu cheya yores, nganzu chidanji khandis chigi yores labim bena, midinzo kiran tening khandis surgudus, kiran ke tanda ane sem ki nedang khandis dus, surwa dewa duwe, dunge duwe, dewa yuna dewa khandis du, dunge khandis dus la se, ane dinzo keche ti ne, ane she shawa dila, ane cheba cheya ki dinde ki tablam dinde yores, ane Koran zu ki ane nga tering ane semba kiwu du, tering kiwu mindu, kiwu yodang de dende shiresha, dubu yodang dende resha ladu zambala, ta jik na tanda kiran zu ki ane jik sheba thara ki ane rimba mangbo she du zambala, ane thara ki rimba changme ki ane chile da, ane namgyur denzo, ane tungu yugi maare dene yinbe na nubjo ki dodang chik la, ane sozu ki ma, ane sem ki nedang she deya denzo, ane shebeki ane chile sigenere namgyur sigenere ane shebarang nguntuma churwa sigenere ane dindeki ane cheshela ane zigiyores.
And the last thing I'll say is, I think there's a difference between what the mind is and what the mind does. And I think that whether we disagree on what the mind is, we can still agree to some extent on what the mind does. We can agree on, say, mental factors and emotions and what they are up on this level. And that's some place where I see a bridge between science and Buddhism, and they both have a great power to inform each other.
Jezan diladu sambala ani sheba se dik ngo khare sheba le se dik khare labin bena jijina ani kiransu da nganzu phala ani doba thadi yin sigres mindimba yung sigres imba ina ya dindek doba thade da mindimba yumila maduba ani shebe ke chile khandes chigres she chile chidang de khandes yores ani di chile da dewa yobeke ani thanda nganzu ani simjung keja mangbo she bas dinzu khande yores shebe ina ding nganzu sangmal ani tumung ke ani nyong de yaji da tumung ke ani she yo jangya cha de yores jezan tumung ke nyong de ya da tumung ke she ya dinzu ani she dang mandawa yo wa songzang ani nganzu penju chik san ani she ya de yores mangbo yores.
We now close this session. Thank you so much for all your participation.